Hey guys, this is Johnny, and welcome to the 5 Steps of Freedom. This is how you can live like a location-independent entrepreneur. So my story, real quick, if you haven't heard it already, is about 5 years ago, I decided to move out to Thailand and just live the 4-hour work week and try to enjoy life. It took me about 4 or 5 years to figure out how to do it. So the reason why I'm sharing this today is hopefully by me going through that, it can kind of streamline the process for you so you don't make the same mistakes I did and just follow the steps. And really, it's just 5 pretty simple steps. So let's get started with step 1. So the first step is take a step, take any step. So that could be buying your plane ticket, getting your travel visas, selling your stuff, or announcing to the world that you're going. So for me personally, what I started with was a trial vacation. So you can do that as well. Tim Ferriss calls it mini retirement. You might go for two or 3 months. I just went for 2 weeks to Thailand, and I liked it so much that I decided to stay. Now, unfortunately, I didn't plan ahead, so I had to go back to the U.S., spend another $1,500 on plane tickets. So I wish that I would have made my trial 2 months or 3 months, because that would have been great. The next thing I did was I started selling my stuff. Now, the reason why that's such a good thing is it frees you up. The more things that you own, they really own you and they hold you back. So by selling all my stuff, including my car, my furniture, all my clothes, the only thing I kept was my DVD collection, which I kind of regret in retrospect, is, by getting rid of this stuff, it really frees you up. So you can also, if you're not ready for that, move everything back into your parents' house or get a storage container somewhere. But do realize that if you're spending, $100 a month on a storage container, that quickly adds up, and that's money you could be using. Now, the reason why I tell people not to worry too much about, telling everyone ahead of time is because, as nice as I would be, everyone you ever tell is going to give you doubts. It's going to give you 10 reasons why you shouldn't go, or you should second guess yourself. At the end of the day, it's really not that difficult in modern day to move to a country like Thailand or even out here in Budapest, because there's so much infrastructure. A lot of people speak English nowadays. There's the internet. By you voicing and saying, hey, I'm moving out there, people are going to freak out. People are going to want to keep you back. I wrote about this in 12 Weeks in Thailand. When I first decided, hey, I wanted to move to Thailand to do scuba diving, people, all my friends, all my family, even people that didn't really have a say, they really tried to hold me back. So I would say take that first step before you tell anyone. Get your plane ticket booked, get your visa, sorted, get all your stuff sold, and then it'll be too late to kind of turn back. So that's a good idea. Step 2 is sell your stuff. All right, live like a local. What does that mean? That means before you come, get rid of your stuff. So when you arrive, you just have one backpack. I would recommend like a 65-liter, 75-liter backpack at the most. That way, you're light, you can travel around. So if you're ever unhappy somewhere, you can move. So don't sign a long lease right in the beginning. Rent month to month, and live as cheap as possible. My first place was about $220 a month, and in Thailand it's very doable. I was even down in the islands where it's a little bit more expensive. And what I did was, instead of buying a car, instead of investing a lot in things like that, just walk around, take public transport, ride a bicycle, really live like a local. Eat at local food stalls, at local restaurants, and don't get into the tourist track, because you're going to end up spending a lot of money. Now, what's nice about this is when you get to the next steps, you'll realize that it's going to be so much easier to not only save, but also enjoy yourself and extend yourself longer by living like a local. So let's say you don't have any savings and you just came, all you did was sell your stuff, and you sold your car, so all you have is $5,000. That can actually last you quite a long time. That can last you 6 months if you are smart with it. So I would definitely say, while you're bootstrapping, while you're trying to figure out what you need to do, live like a local, live as cheap as possible. So step 3 is to learn a new skill. Ideally, you'll be able to directly translate whatever your current profession is into a location-independent one. So let's say you're already a graphic designer, you're a programmer, something like that. It'd be really easy to start freelancing for someone else. Now, not all of us, are fortunate enough to have those skills, directly transfer over, so we have to have new skills. What I personally did is I learned how to scuba dive, and I got to a point where I can be a dive master and take people out. I even became a scuba diving instructor. I don't recommend doing the instructor route. Explain kind of that in the book, 12 Weeks in Thailand. But as a dive master is a great job. You can also do things like teach English. or whatever your hobbies and skills are. So even with Muay Thai, I never really got paid that much to do it, but I got free accommodation, got free training, and that allowed me to live out here longer and really just do the things I enjoyed. Now, the one thing that ultimately, the skill that really ultimately left me here today and allows me to really travel and be able to move around places like Europe is learning how to run an online business like dropshipping. So, that's why I always recommend it, because it's the first thing that really made me enough money to enjoy myself. But if it wasn't for me moving out here, doing this first two steps of just taking that first step, moving out, and second, learning how to live as cheaply as possible and bootstrap, and then now the third skill is learning a new skill, none of that would have been possible. So the fourth step is to keep living like a local, live as simply as possible while stacking that cash. What does that mean? Basically, now you're used to living, really relatively cheaply. You're probably living for less than $1,000 a month. And if you can start making a Western wage, even $3,000 a month, it's really easy to save a couple thousand a month. And if you're doing, decently well, you can make $5,000 a month and save $4,000 of it. And I mean, honestly, that's the only reason why I've been able to get this gold watch. If you guys read that blog post, and or even just hit my goals of being able to save enough money to, really kind of do the things I want and enjoy life, is because I'm still spending $1,000 or less living in Thailand, Chiang Mai. I'm eating better food. I have a slightly, better apartment in a better location, but really it's not that easy to spend money there while making pretty good Western wage with my stores. So it's just stupidly easy to save money. Even out here in Europe, where it's a lot more expensive, I'm still able to save money if I'm here, long term. Kind of bouncing around from hotel to hotel is not the best way to save money, but if you come out for 2 or 3 months, it's actually really easy to save save a stack of cash while you still enjoy life. So that's the step, is enjoy life, but keep living simply while you save up money. Now, the last part is to teach your skill and share it. Once you've kind of figured something out, it's really easy to, just kind of want to hoard that information and say, okay, you know what? Dropshipping works really well. Let me not tell anyone about this because I don't want anyone else, coming in and doing it as well. Now, that'll work great for a year or two, but I guarantee you everything, everything changes. Life changes. I mean, let's say you opened a record store, a CD store, you'd be out of business by now. And it's the same thing with almost every single trend. But what it is life is about growing. So if you share your knowledge, not only do you get better at it, you really kind of hone your craft, but also you start surrounding yourself with other, people who are motivating and are always trying to, help other people. If it wasn't for things like my podcast, I never would have met a lot of the entrepreneurs that I know now. And these people teach me so many things that I'm always going to be one step ahead of the ball. So I would definitely recommend, once you start becoming successful with something, that's when you really want to start teaching it or start sharing the information at least. And that way you can, that's basically how you stay ahead in life, is by bringing other people up with you instead of trying to hold other people back. So that's really it. Those are the 5 steps to becoming location independent and, enjoying yourself. I highly recommend, if you're unhappy with your job or just kind of unhappy with your day-to-day routine back home, don't let another year pass. The worst thing that can happen is you wake up a couple years from now and you have even more commitments, and you still hate your job and nothing's really gotten better. That is the worst thing that could possibly happen. As I'm getting older now, I really realize we only really have one life, and our youth and our health is worth so much. So if this is the lifestyle that you want, make it happen. Keep in touch. Follow me on my blog, johnnyfd.com, or listen to the podcast, the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'll see you guys out here maybe, hopefully. Bye.